Hi, everyone. Welcome to L3 Philosophy, the show where we give you the tools and expertise to help you L3, which is love yourself, love your relationships, and love your life. Today, we're actually going to be talking about things that can prevent you from being able to L3. And this is exactly why I've asked Kannary Keo here today. She is an expert in helping high achievers overcome anxiety and gain focus utilizing NLP and RTT. And so she has been rated the #1 hypnotherapy practice in Boston. And I'm so excited, Kannary, that you have come to share your knowledge with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I would love for us to start off with understanding something called limiting beliefs. Now, I know that limiting beliefs are something that can exist in both our conscious minds and our subconscious minds, and they can actually prevent us from kind of living our best lives. And please feel free to correct me at any point if I say something that's not true. Can you speak to what limiting beliefs are and the role that they play in helping us kind of achieve what we want and feel our best?
Absolutely. And we don't really use the term or think about limiting beliefs, but they are everywhere. And the conscious limiting beliefs are when you actively say things to yourself. And conscious just means that you're aware of it and you're using your logical conscious mind, which is about 10% of your mind. The subconscious limiting beliefs are deeply ingrained. They're usually formed 0 to 9 years old, these beliefs about ourselves that we're somewhat unaware of, but are running the show. So the way to know if you have a limiting belief is logically, you know that you want to date, that you don't want to sabotage, that you want to connect with somebody, but you have this fear, or you somehow you just can't stop a certain behavior. You always go back to a certain pattern. That is a limiting belief. And the limiting belief can be, I'll never have a happy relationship. That's not available to me. Um, I can't really,
Even though you want a happy relationship, right? So like
yes,
your conscious mind is like, I want this relationship so badly. I want to meet the perfect partner. I want this happiness for myself. But you're saying that even though you consciously want those things, there could be an underlying belief that's saying the opposite.
yes. And the underlying belief is good relationships, healthy relationships, that's not available to me. Other
Mm,
people can have that, but not me. Other people are better than me. I'll never have that. I'll end up alone. So let me be, and you're not even aware of it. So when you sabotage relationships, when you keep attracting the unavailable person, or, because they're safer to you, because of your beliefs from childhood being, people always leave. I'm always going to be left alone. Or if I was better, I would have had more attention, more love, but people always inevitably end up leaving. So let me choose the person who is safe, who is broken like I am broken, and maybe they will need me more, and then maybe they won't leave, or it's temporary. So those are some limiting beliefs around relationships.
those are fantastic examples. As a breakup and relationship coach, I hear a lot of people's kind of narratives, right? And the first part that we were talking about, you were saying how the conscious thoughts are the things that kind of going around in your mind all day long, every day. And that's often something that I can help people with because they're able to come and share with me, what they're thinking each day because they're aware of it. But you're able to kind of dive under the surface of what people might not be able to just kind of express because it might not even be in their awareness. Actually, most of the time, it's probably not, right?
Right. It's not in their awareness, but if they keep having the same pattern, if they keep dating the same person, just, a different, same traits, it is because their subconscious mind sees that person as safe, even if they're not, even
Mm.
if maybe it's a toxic type of person or a person that they can't really trust. it's familiar to them because that's what they saw. That's what they believe they're worthy of.
So I'm curious, when you're using the word safe, and it might not actually be safe, right? But you're saying, and this is just my interpretation, are you saying it's kind of safe because the person, it's almost like the person's underlying or limiting beliefs are being like almost validated or confirmed by that person?
When I say safe, I mean familiar.
Okay.
So very similar to when women attract partners that are alcoholics. If their father was an alcoholic, that is safe to them because it's familiar. They saw that. Well, it's normal for people to drink this much, and then they end up having a partner or a husband that is very similar to their father. That's what I mean. So
Okay.
then when you have someone completely different from the way that you grew up, well, that's I'm not good enough for that. That's foreign. So I'm not worthy of that. That's for other people. That is the limiting belief.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And it also makes a lot of sense why it is it's crucial to do some pretty deep inner work in order to be able to remove these beliefs. And in talking with you, it's my understanding that you are like a detective where you kind of go in to, the person's mind and experiences and you almost like sniff around, like a bloodhound for the limiting beliefs that really need to be removed so that you can replace them with ones that are going to be supportive. Is that accurate?
It is, yes. And but it's not as sniffing around. I really
I'm sure you have a process. You can describe it much better than I can.
it's really cute. I am like a detective and I just guide people to why it is that they are blocked or stuck. So when they come to me, I don't know why I can't get over this heartbreak, or I don't know why I'm so anxious. I know I'm going to be okay, but I just feel like it's the end of the world over this heartbreak, or I'm incredibly broken, or I just keep attracting the same person. I put them into a brainwave state called alpha state, where it's just a relaxed state, and we are having a dialogue with the subconscious mind. And so the person is awake, they are aware, they have their eyes closed, and I am guiding them to go back to the root cause. So it's very similar to you're watching a movie of your life. You just did a search, bring me to the root cause of why I keep attracting narcissists or this type of person, or why I always get hurt, why I always choose the woman that's going to hurt me, the man that's going to hurt me. And so we ask the subconscious mind, and I say, okay, bring me back to John's, you know, bring me back to a scene, a place, and a time that has all to do with why John keeps attracting the wrong woman, the woman that will break his heart. And then I lead them to the scene. And it's like you're watching a movie of your life, like The Ghost of Christmas Past. And then all of a sudden I say, and where are you? What do you see? And then he says, I'm in first grade. This girl that I really liked chose my friend instead. Or I went and knocked on a girl's door when I was 13 to ask her out, and she completely rejected me. And or this girl that I really liked at 17, she completely broke my heart. I'm here, I'm on the phone with her, and she's breaking up with me. And the mind picks up, you're not good enough. You're not worthy. They will always choose someone over you. You can't have that good relationship, and it's an imprint. And because it's during the formative years when your beliefs are formed, it's an imprint, and your mind says, "Oh, this is this is this is what's true for us." So what I and it's so strong, and when we're young, We're immature, we only have the perspective of a child, so the mind picks up. I'm always going to be left alone. They're always going to choose someone over me. I can't get relationships right. I'm going to fail at relationships. And then I ask them what they label themselves, what they believe to be about themselves. And when you're in alpha state, when you're in the hypnotic state, you're awake, you're aware. But what's really different about when somebody is working with you and you're coaching them and they're guessing is you're not using your logical, rational mind anymore. The subconscious mind is brutally honest and it says, I felt so hurt. I felt so rejected. I felt so alone. I felt no one's ever going to love me. And I labeled myself as broken. I labeled myself as I'll never have a successful relationship. Or I saw my parents get divorced and I picked up, well, this is what men do. Men cheat. Women use you because of what you saw when you were young and your mind believes that. And then what we do together is I guide you to say, that's not me. That never has to be me again. And I can release the belief that I'm not good enough. I can release the belief that every woman, that I'll never measure up, that because of this one incident that happened, because of what I saw from my parents, I can release that belief. So it's like having surgery, the change happens at the alpha state in hypnosis. Because someone can say to you all day long, oh, you're so amazing, you're going to have a great relationship. But if the subconscious mind doesn't believe it, the beliefs are incredibly powerful. Beliefs wage wars. And that's what we're changing the beliefs at a subconscious level in the sessions. And then there's empowering statements. And then I have you go and guide and coach yourself and empower yourself. So we uninstall old beliefs and then we install new beliefs. The
Mm.
beliefs that you do want your younger mind, you're reprogramming yourself. So you install new beliefs.
Mhm.
And I do parts therapy as well. So I talk to the different parts that I'm the part of Kannary that sabotages relationships. And my role is to protect Kannary because everyone's going to leave her anyway. No, she's going to get hurt. So let me sabotage it now before she really gets hurt 10 years later. And so I do parts therapy as well.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up because as you were kind of giving the description of limiting beliefs and how you kind of identify them and how you can remove them, it was making me think a little bit about how, let's say, an experience happens to us when we're younger or earlier in our life. Um, it almost sounds like a protective mechanism that your brain is producing by creating a belief. It's like, well, if I create this belief that you know, I'll never be able to find someone who loves me. It will protect me from actually like getting into a relationship and having to, go through something heartbreaking again. I really want the parallel to be clear for people around, the whole theme of this show is L3, which is everything starts in you and then
Yeah,
ripples out to the second layer of relationships, which ripples out into the quality of your entire life. And so if you don't handle all of these internal things first, everything you believe, whether it's good or bad, and not even good or bad, but just like supportive or not supportive, is going to impact the choices that you make around your relationships and around the quality of your life, whether it be self-sabotage or whether it be supporting your vision, right? And so it's
absolutely.
really important to start at this first inner ripple. And it sounds like you do a lot of that through different techniques. In introducing you, I mentioned NLP, RTT. Would you like to just kind of briefly tell us what those things are and how they're different or they're tools that we can use?
Sure. So RTT is Rapid Transformational Therapy, which is a very fast way to get to your root beliefs so that you can find out what it is that you believe in yourself and change that. Neurolinguistic programming is using metaphors and proxies to release. limiting beliefs as well, and your language and how you interact with yourself. And you can shift into different states and imagine yourself in different ways. But you're absolutely right with whatever you believe inside, that affects your relationships because you will keep attracting it. And then the outside world.
Yeah, for sure. In this type of work, I mean, all the examples that we've been using have been around relationships, which I appreciate because that's how I help people. But you use it in many different ways, right? I mean, you help people with weight loss, anxiety, kind of a success and achievement. So limiting beliefs are, like you said in the beginning, all over the place. Do you want to give us some other examples of how you help people kind of remove these beliefs in different areas of their life and how to replace them?
Yes. So with the beliefs around success, which I've been helping a lot of people who they want to be more successful, they want to go for a promotion, but they're so afraid of failing because deep down they don't believe that they can achieve it. In their mind, your mind's number one job is to keep you alive and to protect you from pain. So if it believes something is painful, it will sabotage, it will do everything it needs to do to avoid you feeling pain. So entrepreneurs, business owners, people with anxiety, financial anxiety, and more recently, people with anxiety whenever they're about to make a change in their life. So they're finishing school or they're in a role and they're going up for a promotion, all of a sudden anxiety comes out because it's just trying to protect you. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like definitely any kind of major life transition, we
Yeah.
probably have these voices coming up in our heads that are, like blocking us from making a change because they're like, oh no, that sounds dangerous because it's uncertain, it's maybe fear or insecurity based. Um, and so it's really fascinating how much power we actually have to shift even though we might not yet be aware of it. So I heard you speak a little bit about how NLP incorporates, does it incorporate a little bit more of the body kinesthetics as well? Because I know with NLP you do like tapping, right? And so I know that I talk a lot as well about how it's really important to incorporate your physical body and not just do only mental, thinking. Like you can't logic yourself out of most, things that are below the surface inside of yourself. And so it really has to be kind of this package of incorporating your body, your mind, your spirit. Um, how would you say that kind of plays into the healing and moving forward process?
Sure. So when you do hear a negative thought or a limiting belief, you can look inside and say, where is this coming from? Where do I feel it in my body? What is the picture associated with it? What is the belief? And what can I do to release this? And you can breathe it away. You can imagine, destroying it somehow, no longer needing it in your life, in your mind, in your body. And usually when we do feel something, like you said, the physical part, it is an indicator that something, it's an alert and it's waking you up to say, hey, we need to look at this and make a change. Is this still true?
And that's a really powerful question. Is this true? It's something that I use with people as well. I use it based on the work of Byron Katie. I'm not sure how you're coming at it, but I was actually just working with someone last week where, she had this idea, this belief that she would say a lot to herself, but it was causing tremendous stress and it was really holding her back. And so we kind of talked about the practice of asking that question that you just presented of every time it comes up, ask yourself, is this really true? And at first you might think, well, yes, this is true. But then you ask yourself again, like, is this really true? Can you think of any instances where it might not be true? And then just kind of thinking about examples of, like, was there ever a time where this wasn't true? And then it's almost like I kind of think about it as, the job of an attorney is not necessarily to persuade you that, somebody is not guilty. It's to make you question, like, a little bit of doubt as to whether, they did it or not. Like, would you really want to put someone away if you weren't really, really sure? Right. And I almost see that as like this layers of questioning your beliefs is like, can there be any doubt that this statement is true so that you can loosen your grip, your attachment to that thought? Is that kind of how it works for your modalities as well?
Yes, yes. And something I do is I teach my clients is this Zen to help bring them into the present moment. So when you hear, a limiting belief or negative thought or how to love yourself more, right? You can say, when you hear something that isn't loving, one, would you speak to your best friend this way? Would you say the things that you say to yourself, that inner critic, that very loud inner critic, would you say that to somebody that you love? And then if you want to love yourself more and be gentle with yourself more, speak to yourself the way that you would a loved one. Same thing happened. Would you say, oh, you always make this mistake. You're always late. You always mess up. You would never say that to your friend. You would say, oh, it's okay. This happens. Not a big deal because you know that the intention is good. You're not maliciously going out there. So that's one thing you can do to love yourself. That's my how to talk to the inner critic or how to let go of it. With relationships as part of your philosophy is this Zen. So when you start to feel this anxiety or pain or, oh, is this insecurity, anything come up that's negative, that isn't serving you, you can ask, is this Zen? Is this a past thought trying to hypnotize me to believe that this is going to happen again?
Oh, I
So,
like that. I like that idea of, like, it's
yeah.
not really you.
Yeah.
Is it, am I being hypnotized to think something else just because it's already something that happened to me?
Yes, it is. You're hypnotizing yourself to believe, oh, this happened before, it's going to happen again. So it's a past intrusive thought. It is a past thought trying to make you believe it's actually robbing you of the present because
Mhm.
you're not enjoying your life or loving yourself or uh, being with that person. You're being triggered and you're, oh, this happened before. It's going, he must be, he's just like my ex. She's just like my ex. Uh, this happened before, so it's happening again. And your mind is tricking you to believe because it looks for patterns. That's how we relate safety and familiarity by seeing patterns. So is this Zen? So is this a past thought? Or are you thinking into the future, trying to predict the future, saying, well, this is going to happen. This means that's going to happen. Because this happened, this is going to happen. And we have no way of predicting the future. So that's not Zen. Zen is being present, is being grateful, is being appreciative, is um, not bringing the past into the present and giving someone the benefit of the doubt, giving yourself the benefit of the doubt that everything's going to be okay. And then I do a little bit of, Byron Katie's work. Who would you be without this belief? Who would you be without this thought that the past is going to happen again? Or I know what the future holds, and nobody really knows. The best way to predict the future is by living in the moment and making the best of the moment. And who would you be without this belief that I'm going to get hurt again? I'd be happy, light, joyful, playful, present, and not catastrophizing, not in my head, not thinking I'm not good enough, I'm sabotaging myself. And the relationships would be good around you because you would just walk around lighter and not assuming that anybody is thinking about you or thinking negatively about you or judging you because we really don't know. And a lot of people do fear this person's going to judge me. But when everybody is thinking that, guess what? They're not thinking about you, they're thinking about themselves and they want to make a good impression on you as well. So we all just want to belong and connect.
Yeah. Yeah, and hearing you talk about this is definitely making me think about, dating, going on dates, getting to know somebody, or even in just that beginning phase of, the first few months when both people are kind of presenting their best selves, but you're also looking for red flags and, you're seeing if they match everything on your kind of checklist, your wish list. So what came up for me is, okay, what we've discussed so far is that there is a potential to have a pattern that we follow, right? Based on what we experienced in our childhood. So like if you had an alcoholic parent, then you might have a pattern of choosing people who are, substance abusers or, want to be with an enabler, let's say. Um, so that might be a pattern that you unknowingly have, right? And at the same time, we need to be discerning about what might potentially be a past pattern of ours versus what we actually need to observe, like being in the present moment, like when we're on a date, looking for those red flags. So, how would you say? So when I'm thinking about that, it might be really difficult to be able to discern the two. What is a thought I'm having that is from my past that's here to sabotage me versus are the things I'm observing actually legitimate, causes for me to be concerned about this person? I mean, how do you distinguish those two?
Something called third position, which is looking at it from an outside view. What observing yourself, watching yourself and that person from up above, you can see what's going on. And you can even imagine, moving your consciousness into the other person's and seeing what you look like through their eyes.
Mhm.
So then you can tell if it's a belief, a pattern, or however you phrased it. I apologize. The
Yeah.
you bringing the past into the current. So that's how you can tell. Just imagine you can float up and see the two of you interacting,
Mhm.
and then get that view and take yourself out of yourself and really see it from the top. And then
Yeah.
acknowledge if you what your deep-rooted beliefs are, that you just can't have happiness, that you can't love yourself. So many people want to love themselves so badly that you just can't love yourself and you just beat yourself up to try to make yourself better. But you just want so badly to love yourself. And then when you love yourself, you can choose healthy relationships. You can choose relationships that are good for you, and then you can love your life because you're speaking up for yourself. You're doing what makes you happy, what you really want to do, and when you believe that you're worthy of good, healthy relationships, you won't settle
Mm.
for a bad relationship just because I mean, we're so afraid to be alone. So we settle because we're like cavemen. We're meant to survive with other people. So then we end up choosing, okay, toxic, but I'm not alone. But we're in modern day, we are safe. We don't need, I mean, you can just be safe in your apartment ordering food. You're not, we do need people to survive, but it's just not that way
Right.
anymore.
Yeah, our lifestyle is very cushy compared to cavemen.
Yes.
But I think that is such a tangible practice that people can implement immediately is taking that like stepping out of yourself and almost watching your scenario or your life like a movie. Because when you think about, I like to use this example of, let's say we're watching a movie that is a horror film or even a comedy, whatever. It's like you can so clearly see what's happening between the two characters, right? It's like obviously, he loves her, like just say I love you, or like don't go into that closet, like obviously it's dangerous, right? And but the people in the movie are blind to those choices. So when you can just step out even for a moment, like let's say you're in a scenario and you can just get out of your head for a second, observe and
Yes.
just notice what's going on. And you might notice like when you step out, you're like, oh, when I watched the movie of my life, I noticed I was super like catering to this person over and over rather than stepping up and saying, no, I don't want to do that, like a people-pleasing behavior, right?
Yes.
So you can start to notice like, oh, and but you don't have to judge yourself for it, right? You just get curious and notice when it's happening. And that's where you can really make those tangible shifts to choose something different.
Absolutely. And then I I do help people with people pleasing, and I know
Okay.
where it stems from too. And a lot of it stems from they believe that their worthiness is tied to their accomplishments and what they do for others. And that's why people please.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is this why you gravitate to high achievers? They tend to be kind of maybe base their own self-value on their success, their achievements.
Well, with there's a few different types of high achievers. So some of the high achievers, the entrepreneurial ones, their drive comes from needing and wanting to serve the world and gaining love from serving, from impacting the world. And it stems from a lack of attention or love from childhood. So they're seeking it from from their service, from their business, from their impact. And then there are the other high achievers that they over prepare. They do their due diligence. They do their best. They don't want to fail. They need to be perfect because they felt that they received love and attention when they were younger, when they got the A, when they got the winning score. It doesn't, it's not necessarily anything that the parents did. It's just that their mind picked up. Only when I'm achieving and doing all of these things is when I get love, is when I receive love.
I
So
really appreciate you making that distinction between the high achievers because I definitely resonated with, the more perfectionistic, doing well in order to get praise or to get attention, not even necessarily from my parents, but I went to a very rigorous elementary school.
mm,
And, I always felt as though all of my peers were always doing better than me. And I always felt like no matter how hard I tried, I was just always like a B plus student, in this particular school. And I'm like, why are my peers getting A's? Right. And so it was like you get almost like that feeling of achievement or that you're doing a good job in such a competitive environment based on your output, right? Not like who
absolutely.
I am, like who cares about what I'm thinking as a being just sitting here in my desk. Like I'm kind of being, you know, judged or graded, unfortunately, as our schools do on my output.
Your list of accomplishments, not
Right.
who you are.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Who you are or your intent, but your list of accomplishments. Yeah. So
Yes.
that's where people pleasing comes in. And it can be it can really hurt you later when you're coming up for something or moving up, trying to level up, and if it's not absolutely perfect, you have failed.
Mm.
Perfection, it needs to be perfect, or else I'm a failure. And and then you put yourself down. And what I really do when I work with high achievers that are, perfectionists, is that I teach them this very foreign concept. No such thing as failure.
Mm-hmm.
There's only learning, and you get back up and you do your best. But you didn't fail, you learned.
Mm-hmm.
Because they really the fear of failure is strong and it causes a lot of anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want us to also leave a little bit of space for you to share your story of why you even got into this line of work because I know, actually reading your story was what drew me to want to reach out to you initially. Do you want to share the role that this work played in your own personal life?
Yes, I never believed I would become a hypnotherapist or rapid transformational therapy practitioner. I was, I like to call it, I'm a former professional procrastinator.
Okay.
I know it's not former professional cheerleader. No, it's procrastinator. I wanted to have a business for almost 20 years of my life. And I went to, I was a single mom and I wanted to give my kids a better life. Um, and I wanted to have a business, but I couldn't stop procrastinating. And I also had anxiety and depression. And, anxiety, depression, procrastination does not mix with business.
Right.
But I really wanted it, and I kept trying, and I kept going to seminars. I walked on fire. I went to all kinds of seminars, and I bought all the books, the planners, the programs. I had life coaches, accountability coaches, therapists, and but I could not get out of my own way. And I would say Monday and Tuesday and Saturday, and I just felt um, I would say things to myself like, if I didn't have this lazy-itis, I would have everything. I mean, I've got all the tools, but why is it that I just can't stop being lazy? What is wrong with me? And I felt like such a failure because I fell on my face so many times and I would procrastinate and I would stop. And but I really, really wanted it. So I really wanted to make an impact. I have that entrepreneurial spirit. I just couldn't get out of my own way. And one day I saw a commercial for hypnotherapy RTT for success. And I thought, okay, what do I have to lose? I've tried everything. Maybe it's subconscious. I heard subconscious and I thought, okay, maybe it's my subconscious. That's something I haven't tried. And in my session, the movie that I went back to, I was 7 years old. I was sitting on the porch with my mom, and I asked her, why don't we have what the other kids have? Why don't we have toys? Why can't we go out to eat? Um, we had a very beaten up car, and I would have her drop me off at the end of the road because it was so loud and I got picked on in school. It was really, I just felt, why can't we have that? And oh, I just thought of this beautiful, I was in the Book It Club. So you read 10 books a week and they give you a personal pan pizza.
God, that's a
And
lot of books. 10 books a week.
I would have my books read by Tuesday. Um, and I remember I had my coupon for my personal pan pizza, and I went in there, and my mom and my sisters were in the car, and I went in and I got it, and then I saw one of my classmates, and I had my personal pan pizza. Her family was sitting right near the register. It was a Pizza Hut, and they had all these pizzas on the table. And I was like, wow, they have a lot of pizza. And I went home with my, one personal pan, and we each had a slice of it. It's just um, so sad. But I said, why can't we have what my friends have? And she said, you know, these people have been here many generations. They're doctors, they're lawyers, will never have that. And that was my mom's reality because she escaped a concentration camp and she was the only one in America. And she was really brave. And we were immigrants. And so my mind said, well, I'm not like them. I'll never have success. So I kept procrastinating because my mind believed success is not available to Canary. I'm going to sabotage her every time she's about to make headway. I'm going to sabotage her. And and then all the validation that I saw, my friend with all the pizzas, her dad was actually a lawyer. And so and I didn't even realize it until now that I've done my work and had the session, I've really realized how powerful my mind was in believing that success is not available to you. You just can't have that. So that's why I kept procrastinating, but I kept on trying and I did it for 20 years. I mean, thousands of dollars, years of trying different things. And once I released that belief, I started listening to a rewiring tape for success. And that's what I do for my clients. I call it a tape. But it's a recording you just download to your phone. But you listen to this over and over for at least 21 days, and you are rewiring your mind for exactly what you want to see, hear, and feel. So I listened to a success tape, and then I just started doing things, and I started completing things, and I started being gentle and kind to myself, and my anxiety went away, my depression went away. I stopped procrastinating and I started searching. I thought, I need to learn this. I need to learn RTT. And then I also studied nutrition at the same time because I had gained a bunch of weight myself. And I really I was trying all these different diets. Nothing was working for me. And so I decided to study nutrition at Cornell and get certified in RTT. And then I started searching for the top hypnotists and NLP practitioners in the world to learn from, and I created a beta program, and my friends and family started losing weight on my beta program. And then their friends saw and said, how do I speak to the hypnotist? How do I get her to and I started speaking at salons and spas. And then people called and asked how much I charge. And I was like, oh my goodness, I have a business. Somebody wants to pay me to hypnotize them to do this. And now it's been 5 years. I've had over 700 clients.
Oh,
I do not procrastinate. I feel unstoppable, and I'm very much now I'm certifying people with one of my colleagues to do pain hypnosis because a lot of pain is emotional when it's chronic pain. There's an absolute, emotional element to it. And when we beat ourselves up, when we people please and we put ourselves last, that turns into chronic pain. So I'm teaching people how to help people free themselves of that as well. So
wow.
yeah, so this girl that, had this dream that I was from the wrong side of the tracks. I also did not believe that a good relationship was available to me because my dad wasn't in my life. He couldn't be in my life. So I picked up, I'm always going to be alone. I'm not good enough. And I didn't have great, healthy relationships either. And that's all gone now. My partner's amazing. So.
I mean, every example that you just gave, it sounds like liberation. You know, that word, it really rings true because we are the oppressors of ourselves so many times that when you can have access to tools like this that just give you the key to get yourself out of the jail cell.
Yeah.
um, it really allows you to be able to not only move forward, but to kind of elevate yourself to levels that you might not have ever believed were possible for you. And I can speak to, everything that you were saying regarding how you started to feel after you did your sessions and you were listening to your recordings. You and I have had a few sessions together to help, me with my business and any limiting beliefs I might have there. And, I can definitely say that I've been I've felt, lighter around it, more motivated. And, I'm still in the process of like listening to the recording every night. And it's just interesting to really be able to see the progress you can make from, your point A, where you're starting, and your point B, where you're trying to get, when you can, again, open up the doors to liberate yourself to take those actions and make your dreams and your goals a reality, whether it's relationships, whether it's your career, whether it's moving to a new location, whatever. So yeah, I can definitely see how you've been able to help, 700 plus people.
And I want to congratulate you because you were able to have such a breakthrough in a few short months.
Yeah. Yeah, we
That's
only worked
that's
together
the
for a short
powerful
time.
part. Yes, the powerful part of hypnotherapy is it's very quick. It's a few sessions, maybe a year at the most if you have tremendous trauma or something, or you really just want to keep improving. But because when you tap into the power of your subconscious mind, which is the most powerful part of your mind, it's the engine, it is driving all of your behavior. That's when you can have really fast results and break through really quickly. So congratulations, and I'm so happy that you did the work and you're listening to the recording and you showed up for yourself and you searched for something different.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I am someone who's passionate about self-discovery and self-exploration, which is the point of having this podcast, is the point of me helping people in the way that I do, because I truly believe, because it was for me, at least it was my experience, that when you have an experience in your life that is incredibly disruptive, like the end of a relationship, or like a toxic relationship, or something that just rocks you to your core, right? It really can be the impetus for tremendous change if you're willing to go inside and do things that feel painful internally. But you have to face those in order to be able to break through them. Otherwise, they're going to suppress you, they're going to hinder you. And, I've just kind of been an open-minded person who's like, give me all the modalities, kind of like you. You're like, I tried so many things. And it's like you have to keep on doing these things until you find the thing or the things that help you break free and help you come into yourself. And I can definitely say, because you and I worked on a couple of different things. We worked on, kind of the success business aspect, but then I also had some things to clear up still around relationships. And I can definitely say that I almost just kind of describe it as like whatever was left over has just
Yeah.
been completely like dampened. It's like it's almost like it just like dissolved, which is
Yes.
which is pretty cool, because you can struggle with these things for years, decades, maybe even your whole life. You might not ever get over it. And so finding these tools is just incredibly healing.
Thank you
So
for
thank
finding.
you for the work that you do.
Thanks for trusting me and reaching out and trusting me to help guide you. You did the work, I just
Yes.
guided.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I feel the same about the people that I work with. I'm just here to be a guide, ask you, thoughtful questions and give you practices. But yeah, so how can people reach out to you, Kannary, if they want to follow you on social media or book a call with you or just learn more about your story?
Sure. So, Kannary Keo is how you can find me on Instagram, Kannary, last name Keo. And that's also my website. And then my business is Aloha Wellness, and that is alohawellness.life. So you can find me in either place and book a call, and I'll be happy to meet, chat, and see if I can help you.
Mhm.
If I can help just learn more.
Yeah, perfect. Oh, well, I really appreciate your time and sharing your knowledge and your insights and stories with us today. So best of luck on your new endeavors with helping people transform their pain. That sounds, like tremendously impactful. And yeah, we really appreciate your time here.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, to everybody watching, thank you for tuning in today. It is my pleasure to believe in you and celebrate the gifts that you bring to the world. So I hope to see you back here next time.